illegal indeed has landed. What a day it's been. Wow. There's been news and news and news. It's like, it's been exciting. It's a very exciting day for us today. It did feel like a very significant day, different than other significant days we've had in the past, right, Greg?
I think so. I mean, when you go from last week with was it last week? I've lost all track of time and all sense of time at this point. With the Barrack indictment, the Tom Barrack indictment, and now into now with the stuff that's being revealed today, not just the things Trump said, but also that his taxes are now going to the Ways and Means Committee.
Right.
There's a lot of moving parts right now.
A lot's happened.
And the parts that are moving are not going to be helpful to Mr. Trump.
No, not at all. Not at all. LB, what are you thinking about how significant today is without getting into any of the details yet? But rank it for me on a scale of 1 to 10.
I'm going to go 6.
6?
Because just because we've been at negative 25. And so
that's a different scale.
Yeah. So I think we're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there.
It was indeed, I don't know if you guys know this book. I don't really know the book, but I love this cover because I've used it before in a graphic. It was indeed Donald and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Because it really was. No good came out of this for Donald Trump today at all. Do you guys know that book? I don't know it. Have you read
Alexander?
It? Alexander.
Yes. Alexander and
Yeah.
But it is a particularly bad day for Donald Trump because there was 3 bad things that happened to him today, all in one go. It's not the kind of day he ever expected would happen. I don't think. I imagine he didn't. The first thing that came out, of course, was the bombshell notes from the Department of Justice. They'd been taking notes while he was ordering them, directing them to declare the 2020 elections corrupt, which is, more than ample eyewitness, contemporaneous notes of what happened during that period of time. We all suspected this was happening, but now we have proof of that happening. The second thing, Greg, you've just mentioned is that the Department of Justice has instructed the Treasury to hand over Trump's tax returns to the House Ways and Means Committee. So that's big news because they've been wanting that for a while. And the third thing that happened, it doesn't even qualify for news anymore, is that Arizona fraud has basically collapsed. Because, it was just a joke anyhow. And Twitter has banned a lot of the accounts associated with that. So a big, bad day for Donald Trump. But the thing that struck me the most out of all the things that came out from Carolyn Maloney, is that her name? That's her committee, right? The Oversight Committee that did this incredible investigation. The thing that came out that really struck me was this one sentence that I think is just gold for those people who want to sink Donald Trump. Just say that the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the R congressmen. Boy, that sounds like a conspiracy to me. I mean, it sure does sound like a conspiracy, doesn't it?
Yes, Ev, it does. It does.
It looks like a conspiracy, walks like a conspiracy, must be a conspiracy. Now, who are the R Republicans? I mean, they could be, we know 2 of them. We know 2 of them, right? We know these 2 because he mentions them. So there's one congressman, Jim Jordan, who's been waiting for his time in jail for sure for a long time, and Mr. Johnson, Senator Johnson, who also has been waiting for his time in jail. Come to think of it, so the 2 of them, they're named in these little notes, along with the other unnamed representatives, a Pennsylvania representative, and presumably other Republicans who we could probably name. I mean, I'd add to this list if I could. I'd probably guess that this guy's going to be on that list, right? Don't you think he's going to be on that list? I suspect so. And then the usual lot of these dudes, they're likely to land up on that conspiracy docket if it ever shows up. And I'll stop there because I could keep going. But that's, this is a indication to me of a pretty wide-ranging conspiracy. This is, now you've got the president announcing his motive to the Department of Justice and then ordering them, directing them to do this incredibly illegal thing and basically make up evidence, which wasn't there because they kept repeating to him that it wasn't there. And he insists it is, and he insists that he and his Republican henchmen, his mob, can basically go and fix this, which is insane. Of course they can't, but the fact that he thought they could, and he said it out loud, and there are now notes taken by the Deputy Attorney General, whose name escapes me right now. I didn't remember his name.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I only got to see this very cursory. I kind of grabbed the headlines. But is there a date in there of when he said that? Just to call it correct. Is there an actual date they give?
Well, there is a
when these
lot
notes
of
were
notes
taken?
here, but I can't even read this on the screen because when I put it up on my screen, it looks so
Okay.
small. But I'll find it for you. I mean, we're talking in December
I'm
is my.
just wondering, remember when Flynn and Sidney Powell came into the
That was
White
December
House?
18th, I think, right? Was it
Right,
December?
and they were like, "This is how you declare martial law. This is how they were literally telling him A, B, C, D, E, F, G. God only knows where they got A through Z from. I don't know that they got those instructions from other Americans or came up with it themselves. Quite frankly, I'm not
Patrick
sure.
Byrne was with them. Patrick
Right.
Byrne was there too.
And Patrick
Patrick Byrne
Byrne
is
was
everywhere.
there. And Mike Flynn and Cindy Powell have they've got a lot of connections into other nation states and their ability,
so to speak.
and,
Yes.
and so I'm also wondering. I just don't see those two clowns as individuals who could craft a conspiracy plan, but they certainly were there to message one, weren't they?
I mean, it's hard. He was getting instructions for some. He didn't come up with this himself. I mean, Donald Trump is not
No.
he's not a genius, right? We know that. So not
Right.
that this was a very genius plan, but he didn't. Someone gave him instructions of what to try and
It's
do.
December 27th, by the way.
Right.
Everyone's
Thank you.
saying on the comments. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
2 days
So
after
the notes
Christmas.
came okay, so first we have the meeting. He gets the lowdown. That just sounds crazy to everyone, but he's getting the lowdown from at least one individual that we know is an agent of a foreign power, and has lied to the FBI about that. At least one. That was for Turkey, his work for Turkey. And then, of course, we know about Mike Flynn and Putin. So at least one person in that room giving Donald the lowdown and that crazy meeting of, this is how it's going to go down. This is what you do. We do this and declare martial law. And so someone's put together a plan for him, and he's now articulating a few days later. He wants this plan. This is his plan. We're going to go ahead and have an insurrectionist event. And just declare it corrupt. I'll take care of the rest, and the Republican congressmen will do their job in terms of delaying the certification. Mm-hmm. Everything was about delaying the certification. Okay, so then he gets to do martial law. That's what Flynn was in there saying. So then what? Well, you get in there. How do you get Congress to delay certification? They're not just going to go, you know what? We're not going to. We're going to delay certification. Clearly, they were not going to do that. Clearly, Mike Pence was going to do that. So what was the completion of this plan?
The Supreme Court was
no,
going to be
talking about on January 6th.
Well, they would have to have had some sort of intervention, right? They would have to have had some sort of.
How would they stop it? He held back the National Guard, right?
Yeah.
They needed that window of time. What was supposed to happen to stop it?
Well, the military would at some point would have been called in to quell the violence, right?
Why would the military? To be called in to quell the violence.
That the Antifa
yeah,
started,
but then they
or whatever
still would
started.
have certified. Then they still would have certified.
Well, or unless it was really violence, unless it was the kind of event that would not be the kind of event you could actually.
So people being killed.
Potentially, I would think that potentially was in the cards. I mean,
to a significant number that would stop certification.
I mean,
what were they planning to do?
If there was any kidnapping or hostage taking of any of the Congress
kidnapping, interesting.
Because we've heard that before, right?
Hostage taking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have.
That was the plan.
Michigan State House. It was their plan, which was basically a dress rehearsal.
Plan. So if they
by the way,
hostages, hang on, let me finish this.
Go ahead.
If they take hostages,
mm-hmm.
and that's part of the plan, who is going to be the negotiator from the inside?
I don't know.
I think this is where journalists need to dig in.
I mean, there's certainly a ton of missing information, and we're going to find out. I mean, the one piece of information is that Barr was obviously aware of this in order to not want to stay Attorney General during this period of time.
Yeah.
So he was aware of the plan, which means you've got another person aware of the plan ahead of time, significantly ahead of time.
Listen, exactly. Let me tell you something. I have studied a lot of kidnappings.
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of hostage situations, because you wouldn't believe how much organized crime is involved in that stuff.
I
And
believe that.
all the way back from the Lindbergh stuff, it's very and the Sinatra baby. It's like there's always a negotiator on the inside.
Organized before the
Pre-organized, designated actor to come out and play that role.
Interesting.
And I'm not trying to weave a conspiracy. I'm just saying I've never not seen it. And so I would recommend for journalists that if there was this plan, I do not believe that the plan was incomplete. I think that they didn't succeed in their plan, but if you're going to go to the lengths of removing people, shuffling things around, right, in terms of making sure that you can hold back the National Guard till you're ready, if they're going to put people in different positions, if they're that clear in what their plan and what their actions are. And in fact, in that plan, there was something about taking hostages, because I don't know how you stop them otherwise. So what? Besieging the Capitol, we're going to go ahead and certify, just like what happened.
Well, remember, there was the handcuffs guy was there with those handcuffs. Yeah. So they must have had someone was thinking about taking hostages.
Something was swirling around about taking. So if that reporting is accurate, and I strongly encourage journalists to go in and keep going on that reporting, I think then the next shoe to drop is, well, who was part of that side of the plan?
Mm-hmm. He was inside.
And I mean, who was going to be the inside man or woman?
Boebert and company,
doing the hostage negotiation. There's just no way that role wasn't picked out. I'm sorry.
Well, we know who the main, we know who the Biggs and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember their names right now because I've been looking at
Mo Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks. Brooks certainly. He was part of that. Boebert was obviously giving instructions from the inside.
The dentist, the Paul Gosar or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the weird guy. Yes, Paul Gosar. He's Pennsylvania, isn't he? Where's he from? Who's from
Arizona.
Okay. Who's Pennsylvania?
And then you have
that's
Josh
in here.
Hawley.
That's in the chair. Josh. Oh,
You've got senators. You got senators who seem to know fist bumping. They seem to know something.
Yeah. You mean
Cruz?
Wait, I got a nice graphic for this, so I might as well throw it up because these two.
Yeah, there we go.
Packing your bags.
Rand Paul, who's been the guy delivering messages for Putin. He's literally been Putin's messenger boy.
Yeah. What about this Ginny Thomas, who was involved in the whole thing? Remember, she was involved in the whole day, involved in bringing people over. That would be interesting to see what happens with her.
She brought people there. She arranged transportation to make sure that there was a big enough crowd, and that there were this sort of tourist storyline could be played out.
And these two, which are not high profile, but they are high profile, but they haven't been high profile in the story so far, were also involved in bringing a lot of people there. Charlie Kirk from Turning Point and Rolf Reed were involved in the organization of all of this. So now you're starting to look at something very legal involving all these people with so much money and so much power in the right wing of American politics. It gets very, very dirty very, very quickly out of this when you start looking at all these people that are involved. And of course, we can't forget Ali Alexander and Ed Martin, the Judicial Crisis Network. They were all involved that day. All those people were there. They all had their little role to play. Lisa Nelson from ALEC brings in the Koch network. We're looking at a group of people that were heavily involved in making sure that day happened. And back when we had Ann Nelson on the show, this is her work and my graphic on how all these people contributed to that day, and all these people are involved in aspects of Jan 6. So if the president was trying to, wasn't trying, it appears to have been orchestrating a coup where he would stay in power and annul an election, it will now pull in all of these people who are obviously part of the plan. It's quite quite a thing.
From a conspiracy standpoint, if they're smart, those people that are just bringing the groups to the place probably don't know what the real plan was. I mean, if you have so many people knowing the exact extent of what they were trying to do,
didn't we all know, though? It was the worst kept secret, right? We all knew.
Well, we knew something was going to happen. We knew something was going to happen, but there's something.
Well, they told us we're going to stop this deal. They made T-shirts. We're going to overthrow the government. It's the new civil war.
There's different ways of
on January 5th, what they declared it. I know what you're saying, Greg. I'm just saying there was something going. There was a strain of what was in the public and front-facing, where these individuals didn't think there was anything wrong with what they were doing. They really didn't. So why not talk about it? Well, number one. Number two, they've learned that lesson. Donald Trump also brought in a big lesson for everybody and this is an old tactic as well. It's a tactic for enemies. It's a tactic of organized crime. Just do shit in the open.
Well,
and
doesn't work,
and
apparently.
he certainly got away with it. Well,
we'll see if he gets away with it. I mean, now he's got all this evidence against him. They must be freaking out in these extreme far right circles in America right now, because the law has never come anywhere near them, and the law looks like it's coming pretty close to every single member of the CNP right now. It's not. I mean, they were clearly involved in the major orchestration of that event. And so was the Koch brothers. I mean, certainly the Koch Industries, because they were sponsoring so much of these senators and these congressmen who were, voting to stop the steal. They were all paid for by the Koch brothers Foundation. So you've got all sorts of money flowing in and out of there. That's gonna, this is hallowed ground in America that has never ever been challenged by, this kind of law and order. It'll be really interesting to see what happens.
It goes back to the interview, LB, that you did with Ruth Ben-Ghiat, which I was listening to today. And she's the author of the book called Strongmen and is the expert on strongmen. And she's saying one hallmark of the strongman is that they just do illegal shit and they always get away with it. And part of that is normalizing crime, normalizing things that shouldn't be done out in the open. And we saw the culmination of that on January 6th, right? With these people, just as you said, they're proudly displaying what their sort of intentions were. So my point isn't that those people didn't go there knowing they were going to try to stop the steal. My point is, I don't think they knew exactly how they were going to stop the steal. If there was a plan to kidnap and this and that, right. I think that's a more tightly held.
That's a more tightly held thing. Yes, it definitely was just a raw. This is our WWE patriotism event, right?
Right.
It was a show, right? They got to be part of the show. The rally went to the next level where they got to act out. They dressed up for their cosplay, but a lot of those, and that was very helpful to the people who were actually the actual soldiers, sort of blending in, going through with their earpieces and their stuff, and yeah.
I mean, I think there's obviously different people were doing different things. There are still a lot of people who think it was just a dress rehearsal because, the big boys, like the real militia guys and the big Blackwater people that were defending all the VIPs and these First Amendment Praetorian guys, they didn't go in. They all stayed on the outskirts. They were waiting. They sent in the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys and the sort of B grade guys to do the initial breach. So some people still believe that this was just a test, but it's still a test that went horribly, horribly well. I mean, horribly badly. And that's, to their, maybe that's what they were trying to do. Maybe they were trying to see how successful they could be while keeping back from being particularly involved. I'm talking about the main militia people.
Or maybe they were hoping that, they were waiting for some Ashley Babbitts to actually break through further than they got.
Right.
And that we, again,
or even encounter a congressperson or a senator, because remember that one of the key points that came out of the hearing earlier this week, and I can't believe it was just this week that we had that hearing, where they said, that they didn't get to any congressmen or any senators. Ultimately, every single person that was meant to be kept safe in that environment was kept safe. And that is a remarkable thing considering what was happening. And so, the Capitol Police did what they needed to do, did their job remarkably well. We don't know what would have happened had they encountered a Mitt Romney, which they were seconds away from seeing, or a Nancy Pelosi, whose office they were ransacking. We just don't know what would have happened, or an AOC or someone like that. I mean, it could have been.
Oh my God, I can't even go there in my mind
really,
what
really
would have happened. So there's a couple of things that still aren't answered that I hope we're going to get to from these arrests and the prosecution. So remember. And I'm sorry, everybody, I don't remember the names of the folks that have already been brought up on charges and what we learned in the documents, either indicting them or in their charging documents. So remember, we had one person who, in their comms, there was an instruction, we don't know from who, that said that knew about the tunnels. Everyone's in the tunnels, said block them in the tunnels, turn on the gas. was a plan. They had brought gas. They brought things, we had even those officers testifying this week of, I couldn't have my wife hug me because I was covered in these chemicals. And as soon as I took a shower, the chemicals ignited again. So right. they brought chemicals in with them. 1, 2. So that's the first thing. And they had a plan about the tunnels. Secondly, how did they even know where the tunnels were and what they were doing? They had plans, and plans were online and being shared in these forums ahead of time. They had the plans for the grounds, and they did do those tours. A couple of these folks gave tours ahead of time, and we haven't heard anything about that. And the third thing, and this is being, put out by the Congresswoman herself, I just don't know. I'm not questioning that she's telling something that's untrue. I'm just saying, I don't know that it's related. And I would love to know more about this. But remember, I can't remember who it was now, but saying somebody disabled and dismantled and I think it was one of what the right calls the squad, right? The radical
Presley. It was Presley.
Mm-hmm. Was it Presley?
The panic button. So, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, those panic buttons were dismantled, and we don't have any. We don't have any word. I don't even know if there's an investigation. God only knows if they're investigating. I don't know.
I mean, they must be investigating every aspect, but that's a very good point.
The tunnels is
a big thing. People. The tunnels is really interesting. There was something in the tunnels, and whenever you look at all these transcripts and all these indictments, they needed to get to the tunnels somehow, and I don't really understand what and why.
They knew that they were going to get them in the tunnels. If they're fleeing, we'll get them in the tunnels, and that's where we can trap them. And then I keep going to this, you guys. And then what?
Well, the tunnels also lead you to the subway, I think, as well down there. If I'm not mistaken. When you go down to the tunnels, you get to that senator's subway. So they could have moved people out of that building into other buildings, dispersed people. They could have done any number of things. Right. It's a good question. We just don't.
You don't have a plan for trapping people in the tunnels and turning on the gas without a next step after that.
Yeah.
No, those are their quotes. That's not my quotes. That's the quotes out of the comms. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't have that plan in place without having it being part of some next step.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also the bombs that didn't explode.
Right.
That got planted in the thing, for more. So there's lots of things that didn't happen. And it's all very harrowing, but can we take a step back for a second? Because I feel like we spent the last 4.5 years talking about all the Trump-Russia stuff, and we were pretty early on that. And now everybody's slowly waking up to the fact that, yes, the guy has been like a KGB, recruited by the KGB for fucking decades. And of course, Paul Manafort is working with the Russian intelligence operative and tra-la-la. And there's 1,000 fucking data points about how Trump and his people are basically owned by Putin and his people in the extended circle. So, we've spent the last 4 years sort of trying to tell this story about what actually happened, and now everyone's sort of begrudgingly admitted that that's what happened. So now I feel like this is like the next thing, like it's tourists, it's this, it's a fucking besieging of the Capitol by a bunch of traitors, and it's the worst attack on democracy since Booth shot Lincoln. Okay, you know what happened to the people that helped Booth shoot Lincoln and helped him get away? Google it. There's a fantastic image about what happens to traitors in this country. And these people that besieged this and were part of this are no fucking different and deserve no more mercy than any of them. When they find the leaders, that's it. They, Gitmo for good. Lock them in a hole. We don't ever want to hear from them again. This is like, I feel like there's this weird, and again, this comes out in the interview, LB, that you did. There's this normalization of all this stuff. Like, well, it's the, it was such a shock to the system because it's such an unusual thing to happen here. It's never happened here. Nothing like this has ever happened here before, ever. Right? Again, going back to the Civil War, none of us were alive for that. So this is an unprecedented in our lifetime of anyone alive's event. And I think people really had a hard time wrapping their brain around what was happening and the extent of the danger and all of it. And now everyone's so eager to turn the page that it's hard to focus. And I'm really grateful that this commission has come out this week and started this week. I'm grateful that Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger are on the commission, like serious Republicans who are actually of the party and not. That's one of the problems is that the press can't accept. And I think it's like when Russia infiltrated the NRA went from being just we give lessons to make sure people shoot safe into this, basically terrorist organization for the bad guys. And because it was still called the NRA, people have a really hard time wrapping their heads around that. The Republican Party, the same exact fucking thing has happened. It has been subverted by bad guys, by despotic foreign actors and really, really bad people. It has no bearing on the party of Lincoln or the party of Eisenhower or even, as much as it pains me to admit it, the party of Reagan. These are flat out tyrants. Yeah. So to call them the Republican Party it's silly. It's like calling it the Holy Roman Empire when it's no longer in Rome or holy or the whole, it's taking the branding of this thing and trust washing it through the brand. And something that the media really needs to do is push that and basically don't call them that anymore. That's not what they are. Yeah. Whenever you see a report that says the Republican Party thinks that, but no, it's the Trumpists that think that. Well, they call themselves Republicans, and that's not what they are.
They're terrified, obviously. I mean, they're not putting up such a ridiculous front just because they want to be ridiculous. They're putting up a ridiculous front because their lives and careers and dreams are all on the line here. I mean, most of these people will not be able to run for office again. There's not a chance. Many of them might land up in jail. There's a huge, there's a lot of culpability in what they did. And they recognize that. That's why they don't want to commission that. They don't want to listen to the Capitol policemen telling their story, and they don't want to participate in any of the investigations because they know what they did and they know how culpable they are. And they knew that, well, they maybe didn't know that on the first day, but they certainly that sank in the second and third day when they suddenly began to change their tune. And you look at Kevin McCarthy now, I mean, that man is terrified. His whole life has been built on, basically sucking up to whomever and getting as much money as he can from the lobbyists. And that dream is disappearing quickly. There's not a chance that...
No, he's done. That little fucker is done. Yeah. Okay, he's not running for shit. He thinks he's going to be speaker. He's going to be speaker of Cell Block D. Then they probably wouldn't.
Because he made a phone call. He made a phone call that day. What did he say to the president at the time? What did he say to Donald Trump?
And I know this is my tagline and stuff, but the traitors are so easy to spot, and there's never been easier to spot than this week. Okay, because they are doing sideshows. Literally, they're doing sideshows to distract everybody from what's going on. So if there is a Republican quote unquote politician who is doing a sideshow, whether in person or on Twitter or anything else right now to distract from what's happening, that person is a traitor and they're complicit. It's that simple. So Elise Stefanik going on and we know, everybody knows that she's wrong. It doesn't matter. She's only doing that to get the fucking clicks and get everybody to throw shade at her to distract from the actual shit. So just stop it. Just don't put her on TV. Don't put Ted Cruz's moron on TV. None of these people matter. They're just there to distract and deflect. They're like, Leslie Nielsen and the Naked Gun. Just nothing to see here. Please disperse. Like that's what they're there for. They're clowns. They're clowns in the sideshow.
Yes, exactly. It's a long clown car, whatever they call it. It just endless clown car. One after another of them trying to distract everybody.
Popping out of there.
I got to take a break, guys. We got to take a break. Because it's already 30 minutes past the hour. We're going for 30. But we got so much good stuff coming up that everyone will be back and enjoy the next side of this after this. We'll be right back. Hey guys, it's Zev for Narrative. Tonight's show is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Do you ever feel more tired when you wake up than when you did when you went to bed? I used to spend the whole day feeling exhausted, and then I tossed and turned all night. When it was time for bed, I just couldn't fall asleep. After taking a sleep quiz recently, I realized my mattress was the primary cause of my sleep problems. Helix Sleep knows that you are a unique individual. With their sleep quiz, you can find the perfect mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences in just 2 minutes. Helix offers soft, medium, and firm mattresses that cool you down if you sleep hot, and even a Helix Plus mattress for plus-size sleepers. As a back sleeper who wanted a medium, firm mattress, my quiz matched me up with the Helix Dusk Luxe. My new mattress is far more comfortable than what I used to have. It's soft and it's still supportive, and now I'm falling asleep right away and sleeping well throughout the night. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020. and by GQ and by Wired Magazine. That's great awards for them. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. So if you're looking for a good night's sleep, just take the quiz, order the mattress you're matched to. It comes right to your door in a box, pops out, and it's shipped for free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/narrative. That's helixsleep.com/narrative, NARATIV, for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Well, there you go. It's a great mattress.
Hey, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
I actually need to buy a mattress.
Yes.
So let them know.
I'll hook you up with the Helix people. Yes.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, let them know. I'm not just saying this to extend the ad. I'm going to do it.
It's actually really got they're really good mattresses. I will say. I wouldn't otherwise say what I've been saying about them, but they really are good mattresses, and they do what they say they will. Putting them out is kind of complicated a little bit because they're unwieldy. It's probably a 2-person job, but you can do it. It's not that hard. But the quality's there. Get a teenager, exactly. Boy, what should we talk about next? I was going to do a game, but I just didn't want to cut you off. You guys were going to say something. LB, you're going to say something.
LB, were you going to say something? I took over the control.
I don't remember. You guys, my brain is mush.
My green mustaches here. I'm having a green drink, very healthy green drink. So it's also
nice.
leaving marks on my lips.
Yeah, don't.
I'm having a healthy green drink too.
Yes, I can see.
I'm having my water.
That's
getting
good.
rid of my COVID weight.
It's our holiday edition. It's our final edition of the show, sort of, for the season.
Okay, so let's play a game.
I should tell people that actually, because of all of this, I have I made us after show mugs, and I have not gotten to give them to you because they are still in wherever they make them. But I can show you a picture maybe, and then I can also tell people that if they want to, for the next 24 hours, because we're going on vacation. You couldn't hear anything I said, didn't you? You couldn't hear a word.
No.
I could hear nothing.
But I can tell you again that it was
that mug.
The mug is really good. It's only about $10, and it's if you go there for the next 24 hours, code word summer, you get 15% off just for the next 24 hours. Because I thought we were going away and we should do something nice.
And a mug.
Yeah, just in a mug. There's also T-shirts. There's all sorts of good things over there.
Okay.
So the code word is summer. And I'll figure out the audio and all of that in the meantime. The thing is about this game, it's going to take me a second just to get it into my head and figure out exactly what I need to do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the GOP killing us, which is a part of what you were going to talk about earlier on. Greg.
You want to go? You were talking about it before, LB.
I'll go a little bit, but then I also want to throw to Greg because Greg's bringing up my interview with Ruth, she's amazing.
I've really got to listen to that.
Oh my God, she's incredible. But it really got to see even these historic and some of our contemporary, like Berlusconi and like Putin. We know we could see those guys as criminals in chief, right? They're mob bosses, and Donald. But even back to Mussolini. So what all of these, all of the authoritarians, and you have them all over the world, right? The Philippines, you have all these guys. In Africa, they all had to have a personality cult. The personality cult is required for the criminality. They know they're criminals coming in, you see? They're gangsters coming in. And to get away with the crimes, to just sort of strip down all the guardrails, for all of them, it requires a personality cult. It just does. That's like the first.
What do you mean by that? But that people are just slavishly following them.
That's correct. That you have to brainwash a certain percentage of the masses to identify themselves with you, like a cult leader. Mm-hmm. And so it's literally like a cult. You have to be, the strong man has to become the everyman, right? They're always the everyman. They're always relate to everybody, as if I'm just the guy next door. I'm just like you. So it creates this mind meld, this identity meld with people.
Right.
And then they have to be Superman, right? They have to be able to shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it.
Right.
And because they have to be above the law. They have to be beyond the law. They have to be godlike. So to run that racket in the United States, where our whole nations, we're the first nation that's really just built on laws. We're a constitutional nation. That was the idea. We had a constitution. These are a set of laws. We're all going to agree for society. There's no monarchy. It's not any other form of government that had kind of existed before us. I mean, there's democracies, but we were unique in this way. So, and we had built up all of our strength around that, around law enforcement, around the FBI, around national security and law enforcement abroad. So that's becoming the greatest military power. It was all coming out of one sort of vein of us being able to protect ourselves from foreign and domestic enemies, right? So to topple that, the personality cult needed to go to the next place. You need to destroy us from within, to set us against one another. There was no outside other. They tried with immigration and the kids at the border, but really it was about creating the frictions and leaning into the frictions within our democracy and having us destroy one another, right? Whether it's we're not going to get vaccinated, whatever it is. Well, you sort of graduated from a personality cult, because it still is that, to a death cult. So this means I'm willing to die for this man.
Right.
Or you're going to die so that he can stay in power.
Right.
And the I is an American and the you is an American. It's the civilian population locked into a death match.
Right.
That's different. You can call the Nazis and Stalin's era, right, of the 20 million that were massacred there. You can call them a death cult in that they sought death, mass death, and the use of mass death towards their own ascent to power. But where this is different with Donald is that the engagement in who's going to die is even themselves. Look at, I'm not going to take a vaccine, right?
Yeah.
It's so we're up against that. We're up against a jihad, and it's a next level criminal leadership. And in order for it to happen, you need to have a whole party that was criminalized.
Check.
And yeah, all the things that strong men require.
Media that's going to brainwash everybody brainwash everyone for decades.
Check.
I mean, it's unbelievable how far that has gone. And, I still yesterday, Fox is
contract with death is what I was getting to. It's a contract with death. And so
there's also this feeling of they're all leading up to an apocalypse, right? I mean, they somehow have in every one of these stories, there's always an apocalypse, whether it's the Moonies or these Falun Gong or just the evangelical churches in America. They all have a sense that the end is coming, and either they have to stop it or be ready to jump on board. Meanwhile, they're precipitating the same thing. It's really interesting. Ruth Ben-Ghiat talks to you on The World Beneath. And
The World Beneath, that was Thursday.
That's Thursday's episode. Okay. So
it was yesterday's episode. Yeah, they should check out. And then Greg had the great Lou New on his podcast today. They talked a lot about Tom Barrack, and
that's a good segue.
It was so good.
It's a good segue, because guess what? Good. We're going to do a little thing about Tom Barrack right now.
Ooh.
Do the flip or do the time. And welcome to Do the Flip or Do the Time.
We don't know what the games are ahead of time, by the way.
Nope.
Well, it was going to be a different segment altogether, but then I thought we could play a game out of it because it's our last day before we go on vacation. So, we found out last week that Beirut Barrack, I said it correctly, was in fact a spy for the UAE. He's not alone in that job description, but it sort of made everybody else apparently run for the nearest prosecutor's office. We had Glenn on the show here and Glenn Kirshner, and he said, that this was a race to the prosecutor's office. You cut a deal now for everybody else. So I thought what we might do is just go through all the key players that might be running to the prosecutor's office and determine whether we think they're going to flip or are they going to do the time. And so Beirut Bayrak, I got it wrong. Beirut Barak, I think we're pretty certain. Well, what do you think about Beirut Tom Barak here? What do you think he's going to do? Is he going to flip or is he going to do the time?
LB, you've
singing. No, he's flipping and singing, and it's going to be up to the Department of Justice to not let him bullshit, because he's going to bullshit first. It's going to be a shitload of bullshitting. This guy's a king bullshitter.
Do you think he's going to flip? Greg, what do you think?
Yeah,
this guy's not going to go to jail.
He's
going to do everything in his power to not. He couldn't even last the weekend.
And their answer is, he's going to flip. He's going to flip. Apparently, we're all in agreement there. He's going to flip. So now you get the game. The sound effects are very far away from me. So okay, let's move on to the next guy, who is. They'll get nice nicknames for today's show. Beijing Bannon.
Oh, he's going to flip.
He's going to flip. How are you so certain he's going to flip? Why do you think he's going to flip?
Because he's very fragile.
Very fragile, yes. He's also been
a fragile little boy.
He's done it before. He certainly flipped many times before. It wouldn't be his first trip to the rodeo. Greg, what do you think?
I think that the UFOs are going to come and take him away from the planet of his origin.
So that's not a flip. We'll call it a flip. Okay, yep, you're right. We're all in agreement there.
You don't have escape. You don't have runaway in this.
We don't have a runaway. We don't have the aliens arriving. But there's always an option. There's always a hope for some of these people. All right.
He never doesn't talk. Bannon will talk to anybody. He talked to for the books, like everybody. He talked to Mueller. This guy won't shut the fuck up.
He will talk to anybody. He really will. And that's his problem maybe, but it also has got him out of trouble many, many times before.
We should have him on, Zev. Let's see if
I'd love to do. Actually, I'm going to try that. We'll see if we can get him. What's his the War Room is the name of his podcast. We can just simulcast. See if we can unite the country. Then there's the Prince of Darkness. Now here's something I think he might have irritated enough people at this point. I'm not quite sure, but I'll take your projections here on what do you think he's going to flip or do the time.
He's gone. He's not coming back to the country,
isn't he?
Yeah. Is he even in the country? Where is he?
He's in Dubai now. We're never going to see this guy again.
He's been in hiding for a while, but there's certainly he's done a lot of things lately. Like he's running out of places on the planet where he can even hide. I mean, it's not.
Look, if Mr. Super Spy, who's the mercenary boo-boo guy, can't disappear, then what good is he?
But looks into this. This is just my theory around this. So Thomas Barak is now in jail for being a spy for the UAE. So was Prince.
He's charged. Yeah,
charged with this. So Prince could be pretty much charged with the same thing, which makes me think that somewhere along the way, the Biden administration or the DOJ has had a conversation with MBZ in the UAE and said, we're going to try to resolve our little tension here. In other words, we're going to put your guy up and charge him for espionage, and we'll see what happens. And then we might put the other guy that you've been using over there for espionage or whatever else he's been doing. So I am not so convinced that even though he's got billions and billions of dollars and lots else going his way, I don't see him necessarily flipping, because I don't think that's going to get him out of trouble. I think they need him to do the time, and I think he will do the time. Anyone disagree?
I think if he gets arrested, he'll do the time. I don't think he'd flip. I think
they can catch him. They'll stick him in a hole.
They can catch him. I mean, he's also CIA or something. He's going to do the time.
Oh,
best sound effect I could do. All right, now your favorite dude, Jared of Jerusalem.
I knew it. I was waiting for it. He's already flipped.
He already flipped. Basically flipped this week.
Felton said he's already been flipped.
He's already flipped this week, basically.
Yeah. This isn't even a discussion. It's already over.
Yeah, he's already flipped. And he's done more than flip. He was out there having this conversation I guess he spoke to Reuters or released to Reuters. It's very oddly worded newspaper article about what he's going to be doing next, because he's no longer going to do politics. He's quitting politics. He says he's now going to be running an investment firm, and he points out that the investment firm is going to have an office in Israel, because he's very much
I
part of
get it.
Israel. So, but he's not going to be doing politics anymore. And he says that a few times in this particular article.
Yeah.
However, he's still very close to his father-in-law. He wants to make sure that we know that even though he's not in politics anymore, he spent a lot of his summer as a neighbor to Trump at the Bedminster property, he says. So
I have so much to say about this.
Go for it.
Look,
you're up.
I'm going to rewrite this article in a couple sentences. Jared Kushner goes back to money laundering for global crime syndicates and will continue to try to bail out his father-in-law because that's what his whore masters have instructed him to do.
Oh, that's
There.
a translation.
How's that?
That deserves I can't do that.
I particularly like your use of the word whoremaster.
Yeah. But I think it's true. I mean, basically, he's going to run business deals for the Gulf and Israel and Russia. And
busyness.
He's not going to be running. But, he and his wife are no longer planning to run for office. There was a rumored run for Senate by her that never happened, and may not happen for a while because she's focusing on the family right now. So.
Well, I don't know if I can recover, Zev. This is such a blow to the country. I mean, how can we survive as a republic without Ivanka there to?
I don't know.
Hold up a Goya bean can. I don't know.
We'll be okay. I think we'll be okay.
I would throw my hat in the race just to debate her. It would be, and then leave.
I'd watch that. That's a good one. Yeah. I'll do Bannon, you do Ivanka. Let's go. Number whatever it is. Here's my little asset. Also my pillow guy, Mike Lindell. I don't know about this guy. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Flip or do the time?
Oh, he's doing time.
Right? I mean, he
has nothing to offer. Well, he's got nothing to offer. You have to get out of this stuff and try to flip. You got to really have something to offer.
Right.
This guy's
nothing.
Goodbye. If they bring charges up against him and they can stick those charges, he's doing time, but not because he wants to. Probably.
Sorry, that's to close the door behind him.
I feel bad for him because I think he's pretty clearly mentally ill, and I don't like to dunk on him because maybe I'm wrong and he's just a crazy trader, but I feel like there's something really deeply wrong with him, like for real.
Oh, it could be.
So if he is going to do time, but it's going to be in the psychiatric part of the prison, which is good news for him.
I saw this picture of him the other day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he is like right in there with Flynn and with this whole crowd, the whole Flynn brothers, the First Amendment Praetorians, and they're running a revolution. These people are on it. And look at these people. Can you imagine any of them running the country? It would be horrific if any of them were in charge of this country.
I can't imagine them running the country or pleasuring a woman either.
Anything. Meanwhile, Anne Applebaum said today that you can mock Lindell, you can dismiss him or call him a crackhead, but none of this will seem particularly funny when we truly have an illegitimate president in the White House and a total breakdown of law and order.
There you
go. Which maybe made sense at 7 o'clock this morning, but means a little less tonight at 8 o'clock at night. So that just tells you how much news we've had today. Couple more, and then we'll just I'm curious what your thoughts are on Monster Miller. Time or flip?
I don't feel like this boy. I mean, they could give him a bunch of Elmer's glue in prison, and then I think he'd be okay because he likes to slather that on himself and then peel it off, and I think eat it, but I'm not sure about the eating part. But he does do that. I don't know.
Has he? Honest question. I don't know that he's broken any laws. Is he part of this whole? I don't know. He's a horrible human being, absolutely. But in terms of what laws he's actually broken, I don't honestly know.
He was with Trump always. He's Trump's.
I mean, if he's involved with January 6th, obviously, but I don't know. I haven't heard his name really closely connected.
Stuff that we could sort of look at for him, not that the Justice Department is going to do this, I hold out no hope, right, is if there was anything around what Jeff Sessions was doing with the borders that they could sort of, and Rod Rosenstein, quite frankly, sort of look at what he was doing. And I don't know if there's anything about putting out false data, if there's sort of data crimes involved with his position, because he put out a lot of intentionally false information in order to stoke the white nationalists, right? All this signaling.
It might be connected to all those white nationalists, yeah. It might be a connection.
He,
to all
oh
that.
no, he is. It's
Yeah.
not that he's. That's all definitive, and that's been known and demonstrated. So we don't have actual propaganda laws or anything. So
Yeah, it's free speech stuff,
we
and
have
it's
hate
awful. But
crimes. It's free speech, but
He'd be a great great witness.
Participated in some kind of hate crime or
Yeah.
covering up hate crimes, or I'm just.
They
not
would charge him with
sure.
some minimal thing just so they can get him to give evidence against the president or the former president. I think. So I'm going to say he's going to flip because he does know stuff. He was there all the way through it all.
Maybe.
Yeah, Iranka.
Already flipped.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's amazing, Seb. I've never
Yeah.
seen that anywhere.
Yeah.
It just came out today, so there you go. Came out of my brain.
Oh
So
my!
That's
God,
funny.
We all have
Yeah.
to. We have to keep that going. That is
Iranka, she's gonna love it.
amazing.
She's gonna love that. I want to hear flip or time.
Oh,
She
she's on
flipped
flip.
faster than she flipped faster than she flipped her hair.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
LB,
Oh yeah, she's flipped. She's done.
I disagree with you
She
there. I think
flipped
she's going to do the
faster than
time.
Steals
Oh,
pillows.
that's the wrong one.
Yeah.
That was that was
No.
I think she's going to spend some time. I think she's done a lot of wrong. I mean, I think she's committed a lot of crimes.
No. Just because somebody flips doesn't mean they don't do time. It just means
Right.
they do less time.
Right.
Right.
That's
right.
all that it means.
Yeah.
I feel like she's not going to turn on Daddy. I just do. I feel like that there's
Really?
a limit to her.
Oh, I
to
disagree.
That, to that, but you know,
I disagree.
I think
But
her
if
husband
she
would.
could turn it
but-
into a Martha Stewart moment for herself, and someone convinces her that she'll have a home goods line, that I don't know. Like I could see her being that dumb because she's that vapid.
I mean, I don't. Yeah,
But-
she's vapid, but she's a proper criminal. Just because she looks like that and acts like that
Yeah,
does not
she
make
is.
her not
No,
a criminal.
she's awful. She's
She's awful.
the pits.
And this is what Don Jr. looks like right now. I swear to God, this is him doing cameo for $500 a shot for charity. For anyone who wants him to say anything, he does not. look
Percentage
like
of charity. Percentage of the charity, Zeph.
Well,
percentage
percentage
of the charity. Some proceeds
Some proceeds.
go to the charity. Go
We
check
know
out
how good
check
they
out
are
his
with
cameo
charities.
page.
They have
Some
good-
proceeds.
They have good
Some.
charities.
Not all.
They've got their own
Some.
charities.
That's illegal too. He's banned from doing that. So
They do. And he does not look well, but believe it or not, according to a GOP poll out today or just yesterday, he's favored to be the leading Republican for a presidential nomination in 24. Don Jr.
Again, we have to not call these people Republicans.
I know. I mean, this is like
I
this
know,
list of
I
people
know,
is
I know.
crazy,
But I'm
yeah.
just saying, for us,
radicals.
these
Yeah.
They're
extremists,
radical.
right wing,
they-
whatever.
they're zombies. They're in the body of the Republicans, but they're coming around saying, "I want to eat your brain."
Yeah.
That's what they are at this point. I mean, literally, they're coming around saying, "We're going to kill you with the vaccine, with the virus," and they're horrible. They're that level of bad.
Your number one choice is Don Jr. Number two choice is DeSantis. You really are talking about two different kinds of murderers. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Can I put money on Liz Cheney being the nominee in 4 years? By the way, because I would like.
She's-
What are the odds?
She's having a moment,
Great.
isn't she? She is phenomenal. I thought she was. Boy, she does a good job the other day in the hearing. She did better than anybody else. She's coming out stronger than
Yeah.
everybody else, and she knows it. She's got the moral advantage in this case, and she's going to turn around that party. Well, that's the game. Thanks
Wait,
for
no, we
playing.
didn't answer for Don
Oh,
Jr.
I'm sorry. Let's go back to. Sorry about that. Glad you're playing so seriously. We're
Yeah.
back here. We're back in the game now, and what do we think? Is he flipping or is he doing time?
He's doing time.
I don't even have a graphic for this, but I've got a sound
He's
effect.
not
so-
gonna. He's not gonna talk.
Okay.
Not only is he not going to talk, I think he would try to talk and not have enough stuff to save him. I think he's such a lot that like part of giving evidence and stuff is going on the stand and testifying against people. Nobody's going to believe this guy. He's going to do a rail of coke and then testify before a jury, and people are going to believe him. Forget it. He's going to jail, and it'll be the happiest he's ever been in prison. He'll get
That's
sober. True. All the white power guys will like him. He won't have to his dad around. He'll be a whole
with
new
his
man.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he won't have to deal with any of the pressures that he deals with right now because he looks desperately unhappy. They had to sell their Hamptons home just the other day, him and that girlfriend of his.
Yeah.
So There you go. Maybe they're having some financial troubles as well.
Girlfriend.
She's a girlfriend. Anyhow, thanks for playing. Do the flip or do the time. Do the flip or do the time. All right. We have to take another break, and then we have to do a bunch of other things. But anyone want to say anything or talk about anything at all? Because I know you've all got topics, and I don't know what you want to talk about.
Great.
I mean, are we going to take the break or not? Let's just take the break.
We can take the break.
Yeah.
Nothing is so
that
simple in my world. I should have just taken it right out of that sting, but there you go.
Yeah.
Because it's
that was
just
a
one
good
person.
game, though. I enjoyed the game.
I'm glad you liked the game. I wanted you to have a good game to send you off on your vacations. By the way, are you going away? Are you going away, or are you just going to be in the city having a staycation?
Me?
Yes.
I'm just trying. I need to. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere really. I'm, for fun. I'm just not going to be doing this stuff for a couple weeks just to clear my head and recharge my batteries and come back more pissed off. Which means, by the way, if I'm off Twitter for a week, somebody's getting indicted. It's a mortal lie.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay?
I was actually
and
thinking that
if we're both
today.
not here, Zev, somebody big is coming down the pipe.
I was like, I'm not taking
The
a
only
vacation
thing
now.
working in our favor is that it's mid-August, and maybe they would wait until after Labor Day. But
You're so right about that, and I'm so nervous about that happening. But there might be even you appearing as a host of this particular show while I'm away in the next few weeks. That's also rumored I hear.
That's up to the producer of the show, Zev. So
we'll
I'm happy. I'm happy to be Jay Leno to your Carson. That would be fine with me.
I mean, I wouldn't use that comparison, but that's very nice of you. We'll be right back, everybody. We'll be right back. Hey friends, thanks for supporting Narrative. We really appreciate it. We also appreciate our sponsors. And tonight's show is brought to you by Policy Genius. There is no better time than now to apply for life insurance. Each year you postpone getting life insurance can bring higher rates. But comparing quotes from more than a dozen top insurers is easy with Policy Genius. You can save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. You could also save $1,300 or more per year on life insurance by using Policy Genius to compare those policies. You can rely on Policy Genius's licensed experts because they work for you, not the insurance companies. They'll guide you through every step of the insurance buying process. Policy Genius' excellent service has been endorsed by thousands of 5-star reviews on Trustpilot and Google. And due to their award-winning policy that does away with medical exams in favor of a phone call, you can get covered in as little as a week. This exclusive policy was recently rated #1 by Forbes magazine, higher than options by Ladder, Ethos, and Bestow. Visit policygenius.com and you'll be able to work out your coverage needs in minutes and find your best price for life insurance. And Policy Genius will take care of the paperwork and scheduling at no cost to you. They never sell your information to other companies or add extra fees or anything like that. Head to policygenius.com to get started right now. Policy Genius. When it comes to insurance, it's nice to get it right. We'll be right back.
Prevail. Дамы и господа, это Prevail. И ваш ведущий Грег Олиер.
There's a goal here, which is to make sure that Vladimir Putin not only stays in power, but that they're allowed to continue stealing.
When you look at Brexit and you say, what might have also happened when Leah was being interrogated? Sort of like Brexit. A bunch of confused people following orders, really having no idea what they were doing.
Tax avoidance on that level is only serving the interests, frankly, of a lot of mobsters and corrupt governments.
The inherent question is Maria Butina a spy? And Maria Butina was in charge of espionage. So that's a difficult place to start to begin with.
Those intangibles that those people want to have, we can't take advantage of that in dealing with Russia and China and Iran. If we can't do that, then you know what? Maybe we don't deserve to continue.
Prevail with Greg Olear every Friday.
Hey, that was my ad.
Who's that guy?
Look at that.
Could you believe this year? Can you believe what we've all done this year? It's been kind of crazy. You guys have got these hit podcasts that people are raving about. And just a year ago, I mean, we've almost had 1 million downloads of Narrative podcasts, which is kind of insane when you think about the number that is. Yeah, thank you. But just you too. It's amazing that all of this has happened in this year because It's only
we-
August, but it
I
feels
don't
like the
know
end of
how
the
we're
year.
still awake and walking
know.
around. This has been intense.
It's been.
Can I talk about something real quick though?
Yeah.
About speaking of traffic and stuff like that, which is
Yeah.
that since last time we were here, we were talking about Kavanaugh last week. Was that last week?
It was
Yeah.
last week. Can you believe it?
And I did the thread on Kavanaugh using the Who Owns Kavanaugh hashtag on Saturday
Yes.
morning, and I went to a party, an outdoor party for the first time I'd gone anywhere in months and months and months. And the damn thing, and it trended all afternoon. It was
It
great.
sure did.
So
I watched
everybody,
it all
everybody
day.
that helped that happen, thank you, because it does matter. That stuff does matter. It does get seen. It really does.
And
When
that
it's-
story
when
is
it's that level
story's
of
a big
thing,
story.
it does. Yeah.
That story is a really
So-
big story. You guys have done such a great job in keeping that alive, and then it's really taking off. I mean, I can't wait for everyone to actually wake up to it, because I feel like it's still in the back burner, as I said on Twitter the other day. But I think it's gonna have a moment. It's gonna have a moment.
We're gonna keep coming back to it. There's only one way to make it stop, Brett Kavanaugh, and that's for you to resign. That's
Yeah,
it.
right.
It's the only way it
Resign.
helps.
Is he going to do the
Just
time, or
resign.
is he
We
going to
don't
flip?
have to talk about your money anymore, and we don't have to talk about your friend Mark Judge anymore.
You could just be a good
We're
judge,
not,
a
we're
good
not
lawyer
even
somewhere.
talking about Blasey Ford, but we don't have to talk about her email hack anymore. We don't have to
Nope.
talk about these things anymore, and we don't have to talk about what Cory Booker was releasing anymore.
We may
don't
not
have
even
to
talk about
those
Chris
things.
Ray anymore if he goes to.
We may not even talk about Chris Ray. I wanted to. People are asking us to talk about the taxes. So that
Yes.
Donald's tax returns are finally, after all of this time, finally. And that's this was the Ways and Means Committee that a couple of years ago, once we finally had control of the House, the Ways and Means were like, yes, it says you shall provide these taxes. And Steve Mnuchin, Mr. Rat Pack Dune, we can get into that guy. Some point we got to do a Steve Mnuchin and his professional wife narrative. I'm happy to lead that. I can give you guys so much tea on that. I can really spill some
I'm there
tea.
for it. I'll be
I
there.
can spill some Malibu tea. I can spill some Homely Hills tea. I can spill some Brett Ratner tea. I can spill a
Brett
lot
Ratner
of tea
tea.
that no one's heard.
Well, that's interesting
I
tea.
can spill Steve Mnuchin tea.
Wow.
I can, and Mr. Malnick and Mr. Blavatnik, and I got tea to spill. Now that everybody knows my face and my name, and that I actually am a real screenwriter, and that I have been working in this town for way over a decade. And I've had the same agents as everybody. I'm very loyal to my people. They're very loyal to me because I've made them quite nice money. And so, we have a work ethic and we work together, and that career is still plowing ahead. I was able to not lose that during the Trump experience. I can't believe I didn't lose my career because I was so committed to doing this, but I didn't. And I've got all kinds of cards to play now. Now you guys can hear the truth.
I love it.
I can take you at what the pitch meetings were like, what that Brett Ratner came out in his bathrobe, that Steve Mnuchin can't stop his ticky jaw. I can give you the whole thing. I can tell you the producers I was in the room with. I can tell you the celebrities and the people. I can tell you the jobs that they offered me, the jobs I took, the jobs I turned down. I can tell you who hit on me. I can tell you who
all those things.
Who gave me a pinkberry and shoved me in an elevator. I don't know why he had to get the fuck rid of me, but he did. He was like, did not want me in the room. I can give it all.
Who was that? I want to know what that was.
Oh, that's the whole thing.
There's a whole night
I
of
can
that.
tell you about the senior executives who knew that they were in a money laundering operation and went running for a streamer to get the hell out of that situation.
Wow.
I can talk.
I'm looking forward to hearing
Okay.
all of that.
Listen,
We'll
This is
have
spill
good
the
to see you so
tea.
happy.
Spill the tea. Don't drink the tea.
Mr.
That's
Yes.
my advice.
Mr. Mnuchin.
Yes.
So Mr. Mnuchin is a very, very long time dirty money guy. He is, guys. He is. He's very hooked in. There's a reason why he was the only cabinet member. I think only him and Ben Carson. Is that in Lane Chow? There's only a few that made
Betsy.
it the whole
Betsy.
way through.
Yeah,
Oh,
Betsy.
Betsy, but she's just drunk. Betsy's just drunk. So the Steve Mnuchin, right, went up against, he just denied, there's no way he was turning over those tax returns. No way. He went to extreme lengths to make sure he didn't do that, while also offering to deal out his stuff from the Treasury in other ways. And the Treasury, if you listen to the world beneath, not to plug my own show, but you understand
Yeah, you
how
should plug-
important the Treasury is in catching crime syndicates. It's key, right? It's everything. If you want to follow the money, you got to go through the Treasury. It's going to involve them at some point. When you're talking about where organized crime becomes a national security issue, right? Then you're talking about sanctions and things, everything, all of that goes to the Treasury. So putting Steve Mnuchin, that guy, that launderer, that guy that sort of swimming in the Russian-Israeli mafia world at the head of the Treasury was one of the first things that Donald did that I was like, oh shit, is this a crime syndicate? He's taking the crime syndicate and putting it in the cabinet.
Basically did. Get in the Treasury.
And now he's out. So this is what a big difference it makes, just to get those corrupt people out. And just the Justice Department doing what the Justice Department said. Okay, we're going to follow the laws here. And God bless the committee for not giving up their request. Please provide us the tax returns. We have a legal right to them. And so they probably have those tax returns right now.
They probably do. And there was a backstop in Bill Barr or whoever else was helping do all that dirty work in the DOJ, but that's no longer there. And for all the complaining we've been doing about the Merrick Garland DOJ, today seems to have been a good day for them. They seem to have turned things around a little bit, and it's pretty good to see them actually, doing the right kinds of things, which are necessary. I mean, I feel like today is really bad for Donald Trump. I mean, I can't imagine he can find a way out of jail at this point.
He's going to leave. He's running
leave.
away. I kept saying this. He is running away. He
can't just leave. He can't. Where's he going to run to?
He is going to run, you guys. He will.
I think he's
a coward.
Yeah, maybe.
He is a coward.
He's going to do a Marcos. He's going to do a Ferdinand Marcos. He is. He's going to run away.
Where he's going to move to, like, Moscow?
No. He won't do anything that obvious. There's plenty of nations that love him that we don't have extradition. He'll say he's a political, it's a political refugee, persecution, whatever.
I was going to wear my Duran Duran shirt today, and I didn't.
It's time, people. It's summer. Summer is officially here. All right, I am going to say goodnight. What a weird show, but wonderful. And you guys have been a joy to work with this last 6 months. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, really. Only September or something. But we'll be
Thanks
back,
everybody
right?
for watching. We really appreciate it. It's a highlight of the week for me. So
it is for me too. It's the only thing I do that's kind of fun.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so here's Duran. We'll dance. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. We'll see you again soon.
On your skin, it's so tight. You feel my heat, I'm just a moment there.
Narrative is funded by viewers like you. Support our independent journalism at patreon.com/narrative.